Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
I'm Alex. I'm in red. The Ramble. That's in white. We're here until midnight. Coming to you from New York, New York. The city so nice they named it twice. Ladies and gentlemen, there she is. Will Durst, lovely and attractive and talented and funny and red-haired and
orange.
Is that orange?
Yeah, it's supposed to be orange. You know, it's got the orange with the little dark highlights, the orange and black.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Now, if you don't color it, is it gray?
Of course.
Oh, because my wife Marjorie decided to go full gray.
You know, a lot of my friends did. You know, during this whole pandemic thing, I just decided, you know what, the heck with it. And because a few tried to do things out of a box, and oh my, what an adventure that was. But, you know, me and baseball and the San Francisco Giants, and as soon as I could get my hair redone, I rushed off and went, you know what, it's just not going to come out the gray that I want quite yet.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, because my mother and my grandmother had this really nice salt and pepper thing going on for a while.
Well, she's gone all gray, and she's kind of happy with it, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure I will be too.
It's a liberation from all that coloring that you have to do, which is not a small, easy process.
No. And if you pay somebody professionally, it's not cheap either.
Yeah. So anyway, what I thought I'd do is call you, and we can get an update on Will and on his condition and the finances involved and the money you still need and, you know, all of that kind of thing.
And all of that kind of thing. Well, Will is in great spirits.
Mm-hmm.
He is he's thriving, you know, mentally. He's doing okay.
Yeah.
He's getting bored being where he is, and I can't blame him. It's today's the 7th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes 19 months since he's been home. And that's like a year and a half and some. So, but he's hanging in there. He knows he has work to do to get here.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a little frustrating time with the so-called healthcare system that we have here in this country.
Mm-hmm.
He has timed out of his physical therapy sessions.
Timed out
As far, well, where he was going is not a permanent rehab facility. It's a temporary rehab facility. So his therapist had dragged it out and kind of like fudged on sessions. So he was able to get a lot more than he probably should have with this whole, you know, medical insurance thing. But it's his boss told him, you know what, he can't come here anymore because we've done all we can here for him. And obviously they haven't, because he still can't stand up on his own and he still can't walk, and that's the whole thing.
From what I've heard, what happens is the government says if by a certain time you haven't made a certain bunch of benchmarks or whatever, they quit covering it.
Right. Or if they find out that you have been giving more rehab than they think the patient should have, they'll actually ask the facility for money back.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because we have 2 different facilities for his different, your arm, your upper body is OT, occupational therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to one place for the OT, and we were going to another place for the PT. Physical therapy is your lower body.
And also the lower body is also sexual therapy too. So.
Thank you, Marvin Gaye. Yeah, at this point, you know, I would just be happy if he could stand up on his own and, you know, get to the walking later. But his arm is doing great with the OT and with the place that we go to there. And that is a hospital setting, and he's an outpatient type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they can fudge as long as they want,
Right.
as far as insurance goes. But the other clinic is with like a also an outpatient, but it's a rehab clinic. It's not a real long term
Right.
type place.
How
So they,
how far is he along? Is he seemed to say his hand has improved.
his hand is very much improved. He can move his arm, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and his hand is really good.
This sounds very frustrating because you're saying he can move his hand kind of, and we're 19 months into this, and he can move his hand kind of.
Kind of. Well, he can move his hand and his arm. The thing of it is when you're in bed for as long as he was not moving, it's your shoulder muscles that go,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of sag, and there's a displacement, and you have to get the shoulder muscles working again because that's where your arm movement comes from.
Yeah.
So they've been working on his shoulder, and he can move his arm, but he's not at the point yet where he could actually put his arm down and put weight on it to help himself
Okay.
move.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you kind of need that if you're going to start using a walker. You need both arms and that kind of a balance thing.
Yeah.
And they've done some standing, but he can't stand up without help because his left knee still won't straighten all the way. So he's got that going on, and the hamstring muscle and the calf muscle are still pretty tight. And he's had shots of Botox in those muscles to help loosen it up a
So
bit.
really good looking muscles now, huh?
Oh yeah, that leg is so smooth looking. It's really, really nice.
It's funny when people mention that about Botox, they forget to remember that Botox was invented for an entirely different purpose than doing away with wrinkles.
Right.
You know.
Right. We know Dr. Botox. The man who invented the Botox thing is actually our dermatologist.
His name isn't Mr. Botox.
No, it's Dr. Richard Glogow, and he's worldwide. He's known all over the place, and
Yeah.
he's been our dermatologist for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And yet maybe we see him once or twice.
But
because he's always traveling the world.
it's been used for other things like this, for instance.
Like this, yes. It helped what they call the elasticity of your muscles.
Yeah.
And his muscles are so tight, again, because the second time he was in ICU, he was there for 6 weeks. And there was no physical therapy or any sort of thing involved there because they were trying to save his life from the dang infection.
Yeah.
So your muscles are just naturally not going to be working anymore.
Let me ask you, backtrack a little bit on this, because you mentioned that he had an infection. A lot of things happen when you have a stroke. A lot of things happen that you don't think will happen, like what you're mentioning now, which is, problems with. Well, what were you talking about?
Well, his muscles. Well, you're in bed for such a
the
long
muscles.
time that your muscles aren't
Yeah.
moving at all, and if you're not getting any
Oh,
therapy, they're just gonna.
Yeah, the infection. You
And
don't
it was
think that, hey, he's had a stroke. What's the infection about? But it happens.
Well, that was the whole thing, and they have an infectious disease team, as they call themselves. And I was always asking them, "Where's your badges? What, don't you have like
Yeah.
capes or coats or hats or something?"
Yeah.
You're the infectious disease team,
Right.
and they could not pin down exactly what the infection was. They knew it was coming from his brain, and there's all kinds of, I guess, because he had a drain in his head.
Yeah.
They had to drill a
Right.
hole in his head twice
Right.
and to just get rid of all the fluid and relieve the pressure on his brain. And somehow or other, you're always at risk of getting an infection. So he had an infection, which ended up being a brain infection, and they just had to pin it down as to exactly what they were always
But
taking
you see,
blood
you don't.
samples.
What I'm saying is, you don't associate brain infection with stroke. You figure
Yeah.
stroke does one thing, brain infection, question
Yeah.
mark. I mean, but these are outgrowths of the stroke itself. One thing leads to another. It's like dominoes falling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And as one thing leads to another, and it took the longest time because
Oh,
he
my
was
sympathy goes with you, because every time you think you're just coming along, things are getting slightly better, boom, here comes the infection.
right. Right.
Yeah.
There's always, it just seems like there's always something else.
Yeah.
And at one point he was getting maybe 4 different kinds of antibiotics being pumped into him all day, every day. He had a spinal tap. He had they just
He said to me that he was intubated.
he was for maybe 24 hours.
Oh, okay. All right.
This was he had been transferred to the acute rehab unit that I'm trying to get him back into now, which is another part of the story.
Okay.
And evidently the infection they thought had gone away didn't. So I went to visit him one day and he just wasn't there. He wasn't registering. He was kind of babbling incoherently. And I knew something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the doctors to come in and say, look, you need to take him down and get, a CT. You need another brain scan right now.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what? The infection's still there. So he had to leave that hospital in the rehab unit and go back to the other hospital, back to ICU, and hence another 6 weeks of them trying to figure out what the heck the infection was, where it was, how to treat it, and try to keep him alive at the same time. So that night when he was before the transfer, they did intubate him so he wouldn't have to breathe on his own, and the machine could do it for him.
Okay.
And then that was a whole nother thing, because when you transfer a patient who's intubated, there's a whole bunch of equipment that has to go with him.
Yeah.
So you can't just have a regular ambulance. You need an ambulance that's going to have a doctor/nurse who knows how to run everything sit in the back with you. And that was another nightmare whatsoever, because they could call for an ambulance, but you needed special ambulance. And that was another hour and a half.
A little side trip here.
Okay.
How much do you think this has cost so far? 19 months, by the way, after a stroke. Okay.
19 months after a stroke. I can tell you from getting all of the, you get notices from the insurance companies and everything, and saying, this is what it costs, this is what you have to pay. And thank God that, we have supplemental insurance, because those 6 weeks in ICU alone were over $2 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It just insane, just crazy insane.
So and does Medicare pay for the nursing home that he's in, or don't they pay for a nursing home?
No, he is in assisted living, which is kind of like a what do they call it? It's not a home health thing. It's an assisted living facility where he is.
Yeah.
But it's not covered by you. You're on your own for rent. Whatever it costs, you're on your own.
Oh boy. Well, you have raised some money from your GoFundMe.
Yes.
Which, by the way, if anybody wants to give, they can go to GoFundMe, put in Will Durst, and you'll get all the information there.
It'll come up. Yes.
Yeah.
I just did an update with all of this information just this past week.
Yeah. But I mean, and that's why I called you to do another one of these, because there is an update. I mean, the things are coming along very slowly.
Very slow. Very slow.
Certainly not as fast as you would like to see them go, and certainly not as fast. I mean, Will would like to be out of that bed right now and home and do. He always, every time I talk to him, he goes, well, I expect to be home by, and he has a date that he's figured out,
Right.
He's never made any of them yet. Yeah.
Every time we come up with a date, it just seems like it gets pushed back further.
Yeah.
Because, in a way, it was a blessing for him to have a stroke and then having a pandemic, simply because he wouldn't be working.
Well, it's a good time. I told him it was a good time to have a stroke. Okay.
Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah.
I have allergies.
I do too. It's horrible here. That's why I've been doing this with my eyes.
Yeah, I've got the throat thing going on.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so it's been difficult. It's been difficult.
Well, I mean, when you mentioned first couple of weeks or couple of months after the stroke, $2 million. You have raised on GoFundMe a really decent amount of about $165,000
Yeah,
But
it's
hey,
wonderful.
but put that against what it's costing to keep him in the medical facility. Now, does Medicare take care of that at all? No.
No, I've been paying rent for his room for the past, well, it's been over 12 months now because he's been there since March of 2020.
And let me.
Well, you look at the,
Yeah,
oh, okay, no, you look at the
yeah,
amount that we have raised on the GoFundMe,
yeah,
and then you factor in that half of that money is gone already,
yeah,
but
yeah.
just by paying rent in his room and his medical costs, because there's a copay for all the
Let
medications
me
that he has.
ask you this, and I don't want to ask you this depressing. I'm not trying to ask you this as a depressing question, but as a question of our whole medical system. Let's say you ran out of money. That 165,000 is gone, and your personal finances are gone. What happens to Will? Do they throw him out in the street?
Basically, probably. I mean, you can't. I'm not quite sure what sort of financial things that this place has in. If people can't pay because people are there and they're paying. Uh, if he's out, then I would have to bring him home, and I would have to be with him 24 hours a day, 24/7, because we wouldn't be able to afford to have someone come in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he's in assisted living, because if he was home, the agencies and the people that you bring in would cost more than the rent where he is right now. And during the pandemic and everything, would you trust someone to come into the house?
Isn't it just purely sad that in this nation, which is one of the richest nations in the world, that we don't take care of our people when they get sick? When you get sick like this, it shouldn't be a question of anything other than you getting better. There should be
Right.
no bills. I mean, I imagine a good. Could you tell me what percentage of your life is taken with overseeing these bills and seeing what to pay and what not to pay, and then calling the insurance companies and fighting with the insurance companies
That's at least 90%
of your time?
of my time.
I
Yeah.
mean, all your free time, everything, 90% of that is spent
90%. Yeah.
negotiating
It's negotiating all of this stuff and trying to just figure it all out, and how to pay everything. And like we lost our supplemental health care with the SAG AFTRA
yeah,
at the beginning of the year.
right.
And there was a big scramble to find another insurance company
Mm-hmm.
to cover the supplemental. And how do you do that? It's like, well, seniors, some people are like, well, you've got pre-existing conditions. But, well, he had a stroke. how
Yeah.
how are you supposed to
And we're
not
being
cover
and
somebody?
we're being thrown out of our other insurance
Yes.
after he had the stroke. It's not
Right.
like they're going to say, well, as long as he's still working on it, we'll keep the insurance going. No, they
Yeah.
just threw everybody out. I
Yeah.
mean, I like to bring up the idea of Lloyd. I forget what his name is. Norman Lloyd, who's the oldest actor in SAG. He's, I think, 100. Maybe he's going on 106 years old.
Wow.
He doesn't have insurance anymore
Jeez.
because of the thing that AFTRA did with SAG AFTRA did with taking it out. And I looked, and I've been a member of SAG or AFTRA, or what then became SAG AFTRA, since 1968. That's a lot of time.
It's a lot of thanks for the
and
loyalty, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. I paid those dues every 6 months, and I stayed a member of the union even when I didn't need to because I wasn't working under union conditions.
Right.
But I stayed with it because I believed in the union. And
Right.
then
And you turned down work too.
Yeah,
Because it wasn't union work.
yeah, and you do that more with SAG than with AFTRA, but the point it was that all that loyalty in the end was never reciprocated.
No, they don't care.
Because
They don't care.
when I suddenly got an insurance policy from them, supplemental insurance, it was wonderful. About $2,000 a year for Marjorie and I, okay, and it had $2,500 in dental, and it had and I mean it had its drawbacks. There was a little more of a copay than you usually pay for stuff, but because now I have an insurance where I just don't pay anything. But I mean, it was wonderful. It was a godsend, and I never was able to get their insurance, their SAG-AFTRA insurance, because they never made enough under SAG-AFTRA. Okay.
Right.
And so it was wonderful that all of a sudden I got this thing, and I said, "Well, am I eligible for this?" "Oh, yes, you are, because you're a senior in the union. Congratulations! Thanks for being a part of the union all these years." And I felt at least I got something for all those years of loyalty to the union.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, they pull the rug out from all of it. It was something like 9,800 seniors or something were affected
Right.
by this.
Yeah. I thought it was closer to 10,000 people that,
Oh,
just,
more like 12,000 members who
Right.
were affected by this.
yeah.
I mean, come on, what's a union for? This is what it's for. Not self-perpetuation, but,
Yeah.
but to supply medical help and retirement homes and all those things that unions should be doing for their members. Not saying, well, we've just decided we can't afford the insurance anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, whose
Nice
fault
knowing
is
you.
that? Yeah, whose fault is that? It's not mine. I wasn't taking care of that fund. You were.
Yeah.
So in the case of Will, he's been affected by this as horribly as anybody else, And on top of that, you do get that pre-existing condition deal when you suddenly lose one insurance and you want another insurance.
Right. Right.
So how'd you get around the pre-existing condition thing?
Well, he had a stroke, so it not like he asked to be sick,
Yeah,
and
right.
then there was that whole,
Well, he woke up that morning saying, "Gee, I wish I could have a stroke today."
yeah, yeah. You know what? I feel too well. I think
I need a stroke.
it took days and hours, and of course the pandemic, so nobody was working in an office, so you had to hope that someone was working from home. And I can't tell you how many I could hear the hold music in my sleep,
Yeah.
because sometimes you're on hold for hours. I finally got a real person. I said, it was easier getting tickets for Hamilton than trying to get through
Yeah.
to the insurance company.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people that you did get on the phone were working from home, and the majority of them were very sweet and very nice, and they totally understood. And there was one woman that just spent at least an hour on the phone with me, trying to talk me through the whole process and what I had to do. And she says, "Well, it says call that number, but don't call that number. You're not going to get anybody. Call this number."
Yeah.
But it took me a month or so just to get that woman on the other end of the phone.
Wow.
And-
Wow.
and-
That shouldn't be. They had what I call the COVID excuse. Oh, I'm sorry. The reason we're so slow here is because of the COVID thing, and we're working from home. Well, wait a minute. This is 2021. We have the technology where I can Zoom you from the middle of Central Park. Okay, so I don't give me that you can't work from home. Obviously, all the things you need are right there on your computer at home. It's the same as if you were in the office, except now you're home. Don't use COVID as an excuse for inefficiency.
Yes, it's become a lazy excuse.
And so you become part of this whole thing. Part of this whole mess. So where do we stand with Will? I mean, I sometimes I try to call him and he doesn't answer, and it's hard to get a hold of him. Please let him know I'm trying.
I will.
You
I'm
know.
going to see him later today. I was say, for crying out loud, would you please text Alex?
And I would
back?
like to do another little interview with him so people know he's, his brain is still there. But
and he would love to talk to you as well.
does he still have good hope, or is that flagging? How's his spirits?
By all intents and everything, because I've been sitting through all of his therapy appointments, both of his therapists were very encouraged because he is making progress. But because of the insurance, we had been cut down from physical therapy from 2 appointments a week to 1 appointment a week, and now we have nothing. And you can't really do anything in 1 hour, which is what is allotted for each session. And which brings us to, the second part that I had alluded to before. At this point, I am trying to get him admitted into this one hospital where he's going for his arm therapy.
Yeah.
They have an acute rehab
Right.
unit where he was before the
Yeah.
infection thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him readmitted as a patient because they get 3 hours of therapy a day,
That would-
5 days a
bingo.
week.
Bingo.
That would be fabulous. But here's the thing. He's an outpatient. He's not in a hospital. He's in an assisted living facility. And it is doubly hard to get somebody admitted into this unit from outside.
Well, tell Will to have another stroke.
Get him readmitted to a
Hey,
hospital.
I have a solution
again.
for everything. You know.
Yes, but I called in a couple of favors and I had people make some calls, and I actually heard back from the doctor
Yeah.
who is in charge of the unit, and he remembers Will.
Yeah.
He's a fan of Will's. He said, I would love to have him back and I would love to do the thing, but we have to do this dance again with Medicare,
Yep.
Have
Yeah.
to
Hey, listen,
show them.
we're running short on time here, but I want you to put in a good plug for the GoFundMe. And folks, if you give them before, give again. I mean, this is not a cheap deal, and we want Will to get all the help he can possibly get. Okay, so they go to GoFundMe and then just type in Will Durst.
You just type in
D-U-R-S-T.
Will Durst's name and it'll come up.
Yeah.
And you can see the latest, which is pretty much what I've talked about today,
Yeah.
because there's still so much work to be done. If he cannot get into this rehab unit, I will have to go and hunt for more outpatient therapy, and it's a deal. I've got to call
Yeah.
Yellow Cab and set up a ramp taxi, because he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And that's extra stress. And then, I've got a paratransit card, so it doesn't cost us as much as a cab ride would, but it still costs money. And just trying to get him home. Just trying to get
Bless
him
you,
home.
and tell him I'm trying to get a hold of him, and I'd love to talk to him again so that people can see him. And everybody, please help them. It's, we want this guy. We want this guy in good enough shape that he can either sit on a stage or stand on a stage and do what he does. Not
For a living. He really
for a
misses,
living and for his own spirits.
Yeah, he misses
Yeah.
working. He misses being in front of people. There's so much going on, and he's actually gotten to the point where he's taking notes again in a notebook,
Yeah.
which is great progress.
Yeah.
And he's just given so much laughter and joy to people, and it's just very humbling and heartwarming to see people give back.
Okay.
And he appreciates the love.
Stick around while when we're through here, so I can talk to you a little bit more personally. But I really am glad we talked to you today, and
Oh my Alex,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
and we love you and Will to death. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Debbie Durst.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Oh yeah. Okay. All righty. Excuse me. I gotta do a few things here. I just spilled coffee. Fuck me. Oh well. Then probably another problem with another thing here. Let me see here. Will I have a problem here? Okay. I hope we're okay. I hope we're all right. I hope we're not gonna just get all wet and. This is a mess. Okay, hold on a second, folks. Got to get some more tissue here. See, I mean, these things, I'm just getting clumsy around here. It's just getting terrible. Okay, all right. And I guess everything's okay. I would imagine it's all right. Let me see here. Is this, yeah, okay, all right, we're fine. All right, we're not getting, see, all over the place. But I'm getting it taken care of here. There we go. There we go. All right, are we okay? All right, we're all right? No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we got wetter and wetter. Oh, God, I hope we're not going to have a problem here. Excuse me while I clean this up. This happens. Oh, boy. So anyway, I had a little spill here. Slightly, not a spill really. I kind of like hit it and the stuff fell out. And hopefully, the trouble is, if it happens to this is another keyboard, not the one I use for the show, main part of the show. But these have a tendency to really, if you get some liquid in them, they immediately go bad on you. There we go. We're having a few problems here. Hold on a second. Let me just dry this out here. All right. Okay. We get all the liquid out of there. And hope that it works okay. All right. Hold on a moment. Let me see here. Bum 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 bum. Do 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 do. Okay. Let me see here. Do I have any numbers here? Any problems? No. Let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. Okay. There we go. All right. See this? It's a mess. Oh well. Okay. Oh, there's hardly anybody waiting anyway. So, we're not going to disappoint anybody by taking our time getting on here. Let me. Wow. Gee, it's still dripping out here. Gotta get it so it doesn't get wet, and doesn't seep in there and do a bunch of things. Okay, I think we're okay. I think we're fine. I think we're going to be just fine. Okay, all righty. Well, let's just get some people here on the show. That's what's frustrating me about me. I'm getting clumsy these days, and it has something to do with the medicine. But anyway, I won't get into that. Let me just bring some people on here and see if they are ready to go here. All right. Okay. There we go. Ray Renati is trying to join us here. There you go, Ray. And yeah. Okay. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hey.
Yeah. You okay?
Yeah.
Everybody's fine? Good. I'm sorry I had to I spilled the coffee. I'm very careful about not doing that too. So when it happens, here's some more wetness I got to take care of. All right. All righty. Got to get rid of the wetness here. Make sure that it's all taken care of. Okay. Hello. How are we?
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you didn't mind me taking that much time with Debbie, but
No, not at all.
I wanted people to hear what was going on. And I noticed today I have a green outline on me, all of a sudden, which I haven't had. But if I wear a hold on a second, if I go get this, watch this. If I go get this and I put it on. Maybe it's just the red that's causing it. But if I do this, then I don't have the green screen. Then it's a nice clean cut. It's one thing or it's another. Who cares anymore? What is that we're looking at with Ray?
That's Central Park. I'm riding my bike through Central Park.
Are you really? Oh, okay. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that sweet?
You inspired me the other day. So
that
I think you were like right near here, actually.
That inspired you, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm happy to hear that, that we're inspiring you to do something like that. Anyway, how are we all tonight? Nobody here tonight. What is this?
A good night.
Huh?
It was a good day.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody's here. Look at this. Why am I doing this?
Nobody that matters.
Why am I doing this anymore? Here comes Josh. That'll add something.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. People will start coming. I don't know, but no. I just just before when I was just going, I was doing something, and my hand hit my cup of coffee, which was filled a little too high, and then it spilled over onto the keyboard that I had here. And the last time that happened, I lost the keyboard. It just went. But I think this is okay. I don't think there's any problem here. So we're in fine fettle. Let me see here. Yeah, I was good to hear from her about Will, because it's you know it's a slow process, you know, and I hope that he is going to be in enough good form that he'll be able to get back in the saddle again. But it's been 19 months, you know, and you know what it's like, Jeff. You've been through it.
I know.
How long did your recovery take?
Well, I would say a year
Yeah.
to stop being gone to therapy every day,
Really? Yeah.
where I actually walked out and went someplace.
Yeah, well, he's not in that shape yet, and that's 19 months.
And I wasn't driving or anything.
No, no. I mean, do you drive now?
Yeah.
Oh, you do drive?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But my still big problem is I can't read very well.
Yeah. And but didn't you also you kind of got over it, you know, you came around. But you didn't have I don't think you had the same kind of problems that he had. I mean, his whole
I don't have the major physical stuff that he had.
Yeah, his right leg is gone.
Yeah.
And his right arm his left leg is gone, and the left arm is gone.
Yeah.
And they've got the arm working again, but the leg is still a problem, you know. And but what she has to go through. When she told me, I asked her how much of her day is taken up with dealing with the insurance company. She said 90% of her day.
Oh.
You know, that shouldn't be. You get sick in this country, your government should say, "Get well on us." Okay, we want
Go to
you.
Australia.
Huh?
Go
Go to Australia. Go to Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there are any number of places we could go. I mean, come on, let Trucker Steve tell you about Canada. I mean, how much money you pay every year in health insurance, Trucker Steve?
Go to the hospital? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. See, there it is, right there, zilcho. There's no copay. Oh, come on, it's got to be a copay. No copay. I see. So you mean to say that communist government of
Maybe
yours?
certain drugs you have to pay some money, but as far as going to the hospital and having surgery or fixing a broken arm or something,
yeah.
you don't pay for shit.
Drugs can't be that. The drugs can't be that
Taxes aren't really
expensive.
that bad.
Yeah, the drugs can't be that expensive
it's
because
that-
Americans go to Canada to go get their drugs.
Get their drug.
Yeah. I mean, but it's ridiculous. You know, it's ridiculous
Communism.
that we have to worry here about how you pay for your medical care. And then you have a government that can't get it together to give it to us. I mean, what's with the Republicans when it comes to this sort of thing? They don't want to do it. You know, why? They're heartless bastards. Am I right? Am I right, Josh?
I would agree, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what is it with this country that we can't find our way to taking care of people's health?
Well, we have, I mean, I think I've said before many times that the two most important things, I guess, in my opinion, that people probably have in their life for their livelihood and success is their health and an education.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not even talking higher education, but just an education. And those two things are like mega business in America. I mean, college education is mega business. I mean, lots of for-profit colleges and all. I mean, even state, you know, Ohio State universities and, you know, Alabama and just regular colleges are expensive and big.
Well, I mean, Biden is talking about
programs and-
assuring that everybody can get at least a two-year degree.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm going,
Big business.
you should be able to get 4 years. You should be able to get as much as you need. You know, and
Used to be.
well, what we should do here is also what they do in England. kids at a certain age decide which way they want to go to. They want to go into a trade, or do they want to go into something a little deeper than that? In which case, when they're in school, they start studying a vocation. And I wish we'd do that here. I mean, we're not preparing kids for anything in high school. All we're doing is having them sit there and pass the time away. You know. So.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
in college.
What were you going to say?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
When I was in college back in the 70s, the University of Illinois was $200 a year. That was tuition.
Yeah.
Fee. $200 a year.
What is it now?
It's over 20,000.
Okay. Well, case made. Why are we getting somebody's Eve on his house?
I think he was on a Pelotron.
Yeah, he was on the back porch or something.
Yeah, Ray? You know, it's not the kind of view we want. You know.
That beats the view in the Y that he used to be at.
What?
Remember when he used to call in from the YMCA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I got my second Pfizer shot today, and my back is killing me.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, it's like it's just all stiff. The whole body's just stiff.
Well, yeah, that happens.
I got my appointment for May 24th, and the second one September 13th.
So they give you this first and the dates for the first and the second at the same time. Yeah, mine
That's
we got
from May till September. That's only supposed to be.
Yeah, that seems. Mine's only 4 weeks.
Yeah.
That's Canada, and it's Ontario. Like a fucking moron.
It was 2 weeks for Pfizer. No, it was 3 weeks for Pfizer.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
3 weeks for Pfizer. Yeah, and it's
Ontario is one month.
Well, it was 5 weeks for me. It was 5.5 weeks for me, if you may remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they didn't sign me up right or something. I don't know. What I love now is that before I had to, you had to wait online to go and get the date, and then go there and then get another date, blah, 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 blah. Now, all you have to do, okay, is go down to your local pharmacy and go get the damn shot. Don't even make an appointment,
Yeah, you can walk in anywhere in San Francisco now.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere you want. Just walk in. They'll give you the shot.
Yeah. Here's one of the people that we see a lot in the group chat, but it's John Redshaw. Hello, John.
Hi.
How you doing?
I've got good news to report too. I got my first shot.
Yeah.
And next week I'm going to get my second shot, Pfizer.
Well, wait a minute.
Okay.
Oh, you got your first shot a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And then you're going to get your second shot.
Yep.
Yeah. And then there's supposed to be maybe a third shot coming.
Oh.
Maybe like 6 months later or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take it if I need it.
Yeah. No, you're good for everybody. How many people here have had at least one shot? Would you raise your hand? Yeah. So it's just about everybody. Well, Josh hasn't yet, right, Josh?
No, I haven't.
Why?
I don't care, I guess.
He didn't want to wait in line an hour and a half like we had to.
Well, yeah, but now you can go to a pharmacy, and I went by CVS the other day just because I was getting some stuff, and I went to look at what kind of line they had there, and lo and behold, there were like 3 people waiting. So it's getting pretty fast to get one now, which is pretty damn good. But
Yeah, they had a sign at the place where I got mine over. It was a college, USF, and the sign said, "Walk in, welcome. Anybody needs one. You can walk right up and do it."
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten that way now that in some states, in fact, they're begging people to get shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, Texas.
Yeah. What I don't understand what the reluctance is. Tell me, please. Give me some kind of indication here, Charlie. Why blacks are so reluctant to get the shot? I mean, my feeling is if Black Lives Matter, then wear a mask and get the shot. right? Because you don't want to infect other black people if you're black, right?
Yeah, but I think that's blown out of proportion. All the blacks I know have gotten their shots.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's largely a myth.
Well, I don't know if it's a myth because they say here in New York, the statistics are something like 60% of the white population has gotten their first shot, where the black population it's only like 9%. Really? Some very small amount, and I don't understand it. I mean, hey, Tuskegee happened what 60 years ago.
Most people don't even know what.
And most people don't even know what it is. They just say Tuskegee now because Yes, Ray.
But I think black people know.
I was just going to say that I could understand the reluctance if it was just the United States, but it's the whole world. So it would have to be a worldwide conspiracy, and that's implausible to me.
Well, if it's a conspiracy, I guess there are 300 million of us in America who are going to be very ill sometime soon. Yes, Alan.
So on the black thing issue, I think there's several things going on. All my black friends are getting it or have got it too.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of blacks and Latinos that they claim are not getting it live in inner city areas, don't see doctors, are getting misinformation. Some of them are very poor people and don't have computers early on to get an appointment for a vaccine. And so I think maybe now there's not much of an excuse, and I think a lot more minorities are getting it. LA County had some of the highest numbers in January in the country, and the numbers are way, way down. And a friend of mine that's an ER doc down there says Latinos are lining up by the Grove down there to get shots, and black people too.
What is by the droves? You mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Grove.
And they said 9% more Republicans are getting them too.
Oh, really?
That's
the Republicans are increasing. The Republicans are increasing now too of getting the shot.
Good.
False news.
Maybe because Trump said something.
Right.
Yeah, Josh.
I found out Trump had it the day after the shot came out.
Josh, is why the reluctance to get a shot? You just haven't gotten around to it, or?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't even know how you schedule it or anything. You probably gotta go on the internet, create a fucking username.
No.
And I gotta drive somewhere, and I gotta talk to someone.
No, you don't, Josh. No, you gotta see. Wait a minute. You have a CVS pharmacy near you? Do you have a Walgreens?
Yeah, sort of, I guess.
Walmart is doing it.
Walmart, yeah, you go to Walmart.
Yeah, you just walk right in now.
Safeway.
Yeah.
I saw a lady in front of me get one.
I still gotta talk to someone.
Well, no, you don't have to talk to anybody. Just get in your car, go down to CVS, say where are you giving the shots. Go to the back of the CVS and let them stab you.
Hey, if you never come out of your house, you don't need a shot anyway. So what the hell?
Yeah.
Unless somebody comes over with it, just ask Tony.
No.
Yeah.
But it's pretty easy now. That's the thing. When I first did it, if you wanted to use that excuse when I was trying to get it in the beginning, I'd go along. Oh, didn't you have a real problem, John, getting a date and stuff?
Yes, on the mass vaccination sites for for New York State.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're
going on, and they kept saying no appointment, no appointment. One Sunday afternoon, I popped in, and they had an appointment for the following Wednesday. So it was amazing, and I went there, and it was so well organized, so easy to get in and out. It wasn't like I was waiting online for anything at any time.
Yeah, I mean the organization has been here, at least here in New York, has been pretty damn good. The first one I had to wait 2 hours to get my shot. We had to wait in line that long. The second time, they said, "Oh, you're an old fart, you and your wife. You're both old farts. Here, come, let's take you to the front of the line." And I was in and out of there in like 10 minutes. Well, more than that because I had to wait 15 to cool down before they let me go. It
was a big operation out there on Long Island, and it was surprising how I went from one room to another, and everything seemed to be it was like designed so you didn't have to wait online or anything.
Well, I love Kevin because Kevin got his mother her shot, and but she did it in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just they drove.
But now you don't even. I'm going to take my daughter to get her second one, and they tell you your day, and they tell you a time. But she says you don't have to come at that time. Just come on that day. Don't even worry about the time.
Well, can't you just go into a pharmacy right now and go get it, rather than even have?
Yeah, you can. But like I was at CVS just the other night, and they had 2 or 3 extra shots, and they said, "Anybody want a shot? We got 2 extras right now."
See?
And I said, "Well, why don't you go on Facebook? You'll have about 80 people here right now."
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's not that difficult.
Said, no.
Don't
do that.
It's not that difficult any longer, and I just think that the faster we can get everybody vaccinated, the better. The faster we're going to get back to somewhat normalcy in our lives. Have you had your shot, right, Ray? You had your shot?
I've had both, yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah, I've got a guy on my street doing it out of his garage. It's crazy.
Doing it out of his garage?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Are they real?
No, you do not. I'm just bullshit.
Whatever happened?
Both my...
Whatever happened to lawn sales?
Ray, maybe he had an extra bottle of Clorox.
Yeah, maybe. It works pretty well, I heard.
He's a Republican.
Yeah. But I mean, it's we're.
I was reading in San Francisco last year that we've had about 250 COVID deaths, but about 800 fentanyl overdoses. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, fentanyl's really bad right now in San Francisco.
It's a disaster here. The fentanyl and the heroin.
So bad.
Something, I may be wrong because I may be just distant from it, but we don't hear that much about drug problems in New York City. And you
We
would
hear about it.
Huh?
We hear about it.
What, in New York City?
Yeah. It's a nationwide thing.
But I haven't heard that. You usually hear them. You see a uptick in anti-drug ads on television, and we don't have any drug ads on television. The only ads we have are go out and get your shot.
Well, hey, Alex. Last time I was in New York City, there was a kid passed out on the sidewalk, and they sent ambulance, fire trucks. In San Francisco, you just walk by them. I mean, you walk by any block, you see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
San Francisco used to be really low in, drug overdoses. We had it really, one of the lowest in the country.
Yeah.
But the last 3-4 years, there's been this horrible epidemic of fentanyl, and it's gone crazy. I don't know what it is. It's horrible.
Well, with heroin, you could start using the heroin today. Anybody here could, and not have too much of a problem. Forget about the AIDS or the...
Actually, of all those drugs you're talking about, heroin is probably the least dangerous.
Yeah. Right. And so when people get used to heroin and they want to move up to something stronger, and they try fentanyl. And it doesn't take much to overdose. Just
no. What's happening is they're cutting the heroin with fentanyl. And they're putting fentanyl into things like Percocet and everything else. They're putting fentanyl on that to increase the strength of it, and that's what's fucking them up.
The people are also taking fentanyl on purpose.
Yeah, and they don't know how to dose it.
That's right.
If they can't get the heroin, they're going to take
that's what I'm saying.
Well, I have for years been for making all drugs legal. Don't make them illegal.
Yeah, don't do fentanyl.
Well, because what you do is you get things like fentanyl, and where maybe if you at least had a legal fentanyl, you'd know what the dose is.
You do have.
Yeah, but you look at the shit and you can get high.
Yeah.
That stuff's strong, man.
You can, if you touch it, it can go right through your skin.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah, overdose and die within minutes.
Yeah. Just by touching fentanyl?
Yeah.
They say that the cops won't touch it.
That's right.
Well, I mean, what good is this drug then? Why is it even available?
100 times more powerful than morphine. And if you've had a colonoscopy in the past 15 or 20 years, fentanyl was probably used.
No, for what?
To knock me out?
So the scope, when it bounces around inside your colon, hits other organs and it stops the pain.
No, I've had.
That's propofol.
You're talking about propofol. There's no use. There is no use of fentanyl.
Propofol is not a pain reliever.
It puts you out. It puts you out.
That's what they used on my colonoscopy.
That's what they used on mine.
Propofol?
Yes.
That's
You're wrong. Fentanyl is not used in
fentanyl's not is made in China. It's not used in any kind of medical,
Really?
It's just synthetic heroin.
I'm glad you understand that, John. You have no clue. You have no
Well, maybe you have no clue.
Come on, fentanyl is a legal
Fentanyl
drug
is not used for colonoscopies, and I'm saying that now because especially for people watching, I don't want them to think that if they go and get a colonoscopy, which is a life-saving procedure, by the way, that they're going to be fed fentanyl.
Why?
Because
no, you actually get low doses of that in the hospital for a lot of different shit.
Yeah, but not for a colonoscopy.
So the way they sedate you in a
depends how invasive it was.
Is they use propofol.
Yeah, or Versed. Does anybody know what Versed is here?
No.
It's a lot less dangerous than propofol. Propofol is like what Michael Jackson died on.
Yeah.
It's a lot less. It's in the Valium family. It's quick acting.
Well, the only reason. The only reason why.
There it is.
What?
It's a powerful synthetic opioid analgesic that is similar to morphine but 50 to 100 times more potent, a Schedule II prescription drug, and is typically used to treat patients with severe pain to manage pain after surgery.
What are you talking?
So it is
what
medical.
What are you talking about?
Fentanyl.
Fentanyl.
Yeah, so it's a medical drug. I mean, they use it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's why John was so off.
But you don't need it for a colonoscopy. There's no.
How do you know?
Because I know they put you out and then you don't feel anything.
Why do they have? Just real quick here, Ray. Sorry.
Oh boy, is there anybody out there listening to us who's a doctor who can call up and inform this guy that colonoscopies don't include propofol? Don't include.
Knows everything.
I just asked what it's used for medically, and that's what it gave me.
But it didn't give you. It didn't say colonoscopies.
I'll ask it. What's that for? It was fentanyl used for colonoscopy.
Right.
Can I just interject for a second? The fentanyl that's on the street is not medical use, fentanyl.
It's not pharmaceutical grade. That's correct.
Right. It's manufactured in China on the black market. So it's, you don't know what you're getting is what I'm trying to say.
Manufactured in drug labs in this country too, John.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, you're true. That's probably true.
I just want to tell everyone, yesterday I met with my doctor and I just signed up for a non-drug colonoscopy. No drugs.
The little camera?
Okay.
They're going to do the whole thing without anything.
Okay.
Here's your answer.
Yes. Okay. Kevin's got the answer.
Just had to tell you that.
Sedative agents that are currently available for colonoscopy include midazolam, propofol, diazepam, diazoxanidramylene, metadrenaline, and fentanyl.
And fentanyl?
And fentanyl.
So
most of those other ones are benzodiazepines.
I continue.
Sorry.
Among these, midazolam and propofol are the most commonly used sedatives.
Yeah, that's what they used on.
Whereas fentanyl is the most frequently administered analgesic.
There you go.
Most frequently analgesic, but that's post colonoscopy.
That's for putting somebody under.
Putting somebody under is fentanyl?
That's what it says.
Yep.
I was never given fentanyl. Never.
Well, that's just that
probably
was
do
their
it differently
choice.
everywhere.
Yeah. Some places use morphine. Some places use.
But does it? Wait, hold on a second. Does it seem like
nothing?
That's from U.S. National Laboratory of Medicine, National Institutes of Health.
Yeah, but why did they list fentanyl last? Is that because it's the least used?
No.
I guess.
Yeah.
We can sit here and, do that. What's the difference between conscious and deep sedation?
Right. That's why they would use fentanyl.
Yeah. It's a matter of whether you're going
deep.
A
conscious sedation. So
correct.
It can make you so fucking high that you have an inability in a way.
But for a colonoscopy, in most cases, they just put you out, and that's propofol.
They may choose to do that, right?
Yeah.
But
so if they're not going to put you
out,
out,
who died made you a doctor, Alan?
As with conscious sedation, patients typically remain arousable at all times. Deep sedation with propofol allows most patients to sleep through the procedure.
Yes.
And is administered by an anesthesiologist or nurse anesthetist.
Right.
However, above the demarcation between the conscious and deep sedation may not hold true for all patients. Some may sleep through the procedure with conscious sedation or remain arousable with deep sedation.
Right. Well, for instance, when I got... What were you going to say, Josh?
That would be the purpose of fentanyl. I mean, they're not making you high because they're mixing it with another drug that gives you the...
Yes.
That's
the other effects.
That's what I said.
Because
Alex keeps
but it will numb pain and
it's propofol.
Well, when I had my seeds inserted in my prostate, okay, they couldn't put me out because they said they felt I was too old to be put out and they didn't want to take the risk. Okay.
Well, there was a reason.
Okay, so let me finish. So what they did to me is they gave me a spinal and numbed me from the waist down. Then what they gave me to make me feel good was they gave me intravenous Valium, and it was the same as almost being put out. You're just in la la land, but there was no fentanyl involved.
Well, see, when they put in my spinal cord stimulator,
yeah,
they gave me both fentanyl and propofol. And they could tell me, they would talking to me, and they would saying, "How you feeling?" And they'd go, "How you doing?" And I'd go, "I'm just feeling great, And then there was times when they'd take me away, and then they'd pull me back out, and they'd take me away when they were doing something. "We're gonna put you out for a minute," and they'd do something, and I'd come back out. "How you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing good. What's for lunch?" And then "We're gonna put you out for a minute again," when they were doing something. So I was in and out.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that was a combination of both.
Well, I think they wanted you.
They were cutting me open in my back, putting shit in there, and putting probes up my spine. So,
but I think they wanted you somewhat lucid in a way so that you could tell them when things are going right.
Correct.
Wrong, right.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah. In my case, they just wanted me out, and in the case of the prostate seeds, they just wanted me not to feel the operation happening. But they didn't use propofol. They didn't use what do you call it?
Propofol is an anesthesia drug. It doesn't stop pain. Look it up.
It's not supposed to stop pain. It is supposed to put you out so you are not aware of the pain.
Can I say something?
If they use conscious sedation,
hey, look, when you get your medical degree, come back and give us all this information, okay? Because
that's why you got the epidural. Stop the pain.
So Kevin just told you what I said. Looking it up.
No, he did. You said they give you what they give you is they give you fentanyl. And you acted like that was the main thing they give you. And the thing is, I know from every one that I've ever had that I always had propofol. In fact, they list what they gave you, and I've seen what they give me. And
so let me ask something. How many people have ever wondered why they have all the heart restarting equipment like a little emergency room when they give you a colonoscopy?
Well, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Funny you said that, Alex. When I went for my colonoscopy months ago, I was nervous because they knew I was nervous because I was never. They asked me, "Was I ever put under?" I says, "No, I was never put under." So I was nervous about that.
You've been put down, but you've not put under.
But you know what I remember? They first when they get you in the room, when my brother dropped me off, I went in. They put you in the room and then they IV'd me, right? So I told the lady, I thought they were drugging me up already." She's not yet. And then the anesthesiologist came over, and I'll never forget what he said. He goes, "I was nervous." So the guy, he was an older guy, he says, "You never were put under." The nurse told me. He says, "No." He says, "Don't worry about it." He says, "You'll have a good ride." He says, "You won't remember anything. You got nothing to worry about." I said, "I'm going to have a good ride." What is he talking about? And then they wheel you into the room, right?
That's the good ride.
And the only thing I remember is, this is what I was going to ask you, because maybe you guys would know this. I remember laying over. You had the light, and they says, "Are you out yet?" And the doctor, I says, "No, I'm still awake." He says, "Count down from 10," and I went 10, and boom, I just went. Now, did they intravenous me? I was wondering, did they give me a needle? Or
What they did is they put a needle in your arm. Okay.
Yeah.
Then they were probably feeding saline into it. And then when they want to put you out, they then put the juice in there to put you out.
They did say roll on your side, and then I said, "Oh, geez, when am I going to get the needle?" I think the lady says, and next thing I know, boom, I just went black.
Well, it isn't a matter that you know that you went black. What usually happens with me is, they started, and then they say to me, "It's over." You know, it's like somebody edited 25 minutes out of my life.
My brother was waiting in the waiting room. He says, "How'd it go?" He says, "I don't remember anything." He says, "I told you not to remember nothing."
No. And what Marjorie loves is just with propofol. There's a little, like, 1 or 2 second rush you get before you go under, and she lives for that. You know, because it's like it's like a, and the next thing.
You ever had a bad experience on it? I did.
Really? What happened?
They used to use a med called, and it started with a B, and I can't remember what it was, back in '85 when I had my surgery on my leg. I came out of the surgery, and I had the old out of body experience.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
They said that I had a bad reaction to the anesthesia, and I remember coming out, and sounds weird, but I came above the room.
Mm-hmm.
They say
and
that.
I remember looking down onto onto the room, and
you were watching
the doctors going, "Oh shit, this isn't supposed to be happening. What the fuck is going on?" I heard the doctor saying that. And I remember all this commotion, and this was just putting screws in my legs. And then they were shuffling around, and God damn it, go over there, get this, get that, get this, get that. And then I blacked out again. And when I woke up, I felt like I'd gone 10 rounds with Muhammad Ali. Every fucking muscle and every bone in my body hurt the next day.
Wow.
Every single one of them. And I went into the doctor for my post-op.
Big Jesus.
And I said, "What's this? Why do I feel like that?" And I was just getting a couple screws put in my leg. And he goes, "Yeah, well, we had a little bit of a issue with the anesthesia. You reacted to it." And I go, "Well, I remember." He goes, "Yeah, you had something going on in your head because you were talking to us, and we were scuffling around looking for shit." And I go, "Something was going on." And he said, "Yeah." And he said, your muscles, every muscles in your body contracted and recontracted and did this whole muscle thing.
So you kind of exercised it actually in a strange way.
Yeah, and I mean, my muscles in my gut, my arms, my legs, every muscle in my body hurt for 2 days.
Wow.
So you had a good workout then.
I'll tell you one thing
basically.
What happened when they did the spinal on me, and then they gave me the juice. They gave me the intravenous Valium, and I'm in la la land. But I'm not out. And you really don't want to hear what goes on.
What happened?
In the operating room.
My heart rate went to 0 almost.
Wow.
Oh, well, in my case, I was hearing what they were talking about. And I'm figuring, they're going to talk about, well, here, give me another thing there so I can put another seed in here and let me do this and let me do that. No, it's so what are you doing this weekend? Well, I don't know. I'm going to la 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 la. I mean, and you listen to these conversations going on in the room, and you're losing all faith in medicine, because it's not.
You think it's a lot.
Nobody's talking about medicine, so it's.
Oh yeah, when
what
they
happened with me, my
thing,
first one.
What'd you say?
Talking about tools. Oh, you got to torque it to this much, 13
yeah,
centimeters.
right.
Get the other tool and torque it to 13 centimeters.
Exactly.
3 turns to the right.
What
are you doing back there with the Dremel tool?
I just want the steak. I don't want to know how the cow is killed. But I mean, yes, Alan.
So when they gave you said Valium. When they gave you Valium, how long did it take you to feel normal after the procedure?
It took me about 3 hours, and the reason I'm saying that is not for the reason you think, but when they give you a spinal, they have to wait for it to wear off. and you can't walk out. Well, you can't walk until that spinal wears off. I mean, I became instant Patrick, you know. I mean, I knew what it was like to be Patrick and to have nothing working below your midsection. And
what about from the Valium? What affects? How long did the Valium last?
No problem. No problem. That was fine. That was fine.
So it lasted 3 hours. The Valium.
No. The spinal. Once they stopped the spinal, it took 3 hours before I could get up and walk out of the hospital.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Hey, I can tell you about Valium. I know a lot about benzos. The half-life is 2 weeks. So if they give you a low dose, it stays in your body for 2 weeks. But they give you a different benzo during the operation, which only lasts for like 3 hours. It's the one that begins with the M. Unfortunately, I was addicted to those drugs for 18 years, so I know all about it.
Yeah, the name brand is Versed, like I said earlier, like Kevin said. And Versed is, just like Ray said, so what Versed is it's in the Valium family, but Valium lasts.
Isn't Versed a little town near Modesto?
Yeah, sort of. So Versed is in the Valium family. I know a lot about pharmacology, but in any case, the Versed is in the Valium pharmacy family, not pharmacy.
The benzodiazepine.
That's right. And so
well, this
Valium. If you took Valium for anxiety, for instance, or something like that, you took a pill. Yeah, I know, Alex, you don't want to hear it. It's okay.
Well, it is getting boring.
Well, yeah, so okay.
It is. Excuse me, it's getting boring. You know, I mean, there's only so much we can hear about these various medicines, when most of the people listening to this probably never tried any of them. John, have you tried any of these?
No. Recreationally.
No, I'm talking about John Redshaw here.
Oh.
John? No, I haven't done anything further than marijuana. When I passed that, when I did that, so I didn't do it anymore.
Yeah, okay. Yes, Brian Neary. And then
when I was younger, we used to dry out ketamine, chop it up, and snort it.
Oh, you know what I used to do?
Special K. That was fun stuff.
Yeah, and John, you had something you wanted to say, Larkin?
Yeah, I used to do Quaaludes a couple of times when I was back in the 70s. Remember Quaaludes?
Ketamine is horse tranquilizer, Brian.
It's brain. They do it for humans too. The human one is the smoothest one. But they do it for animals. All animals, when they numb the brain.
What do I need doctors for? I got you guys. You all know more about these drugs. You know.
That's right. You got us.
Yeah, right. You know.
They're starting to use ecstasy for psychiatric people.
Well, ecstasy, there was nothing wrong with ecstasy. Nothing
also,
wrong
they're
with
using
ecstasy.
Ketamine for psychiatric, low dose ketamine.
No, there was nothing wrong with ecstasy. And I asked a doctor once about it. I said, because I had a girlfriend who was having me take ecstasy every now and then because she liked what it did for me, and I asked him about it, and he said, nah. He said that's the one drug that's no problem. He said there are no problems associated with it. It's
they just on it.
Huh?
The FDA.
You have OD'd on it.
No,
the FDA.
No,
the FDA just finished first stage approval of MDMA this week.
Yeah.
Ecstasy for psychiatric disorders like depression.
Yeah.
Pure MDMA. The problem is people cut that up with stuff with caffeine in it to keep them up and then have that.
When you talk, John Larkin, about overdosing, a lot of times the reason people overdose is not the drug itself, but what people add to it before they sell it to you.
Yeah, that's true.
But I was told by a doctor that ecstasy was not a problem. That basically it was a pretty benign drug, and it just got you high. Got you.
Unless you overdosed.
Unless somebody put something in it that made you overdose.
And the other problem with MDMA is when you're at a club and you're not with your friends, and your friends aren't taking care of you and giving you water, you start dehydrating.
Oh yes,
So kids would be in their car because they would leave their friends, and their friends don't take care of them, and they die in their car because they're not drinking any water. That's why you have to have good friends when you're on drugs.
No, I want to ask Tony something because Tony, this is a big question. I've never asked you this. To be honest,
I will. I'm not gonna lie.
What's the worst drug you've ever taken?
You know, that's gonna actually probably the only one is when I was on amoxicillin for my cold. I never taken drugs.
That's not what I'm mentioning. I'm talking about recreational drugs.
I never did anything.
See, that's what I figured.
And I'm not lying about it.
No, I know you're not lying about it. You don't get out much.
No, actually, no. You're right. I'm very nerdy. I'm always into my things. Yeah.
You know, because I would say to everybody here, how many people here have at one time or another taken a recreational drug? Would you raise your hands?
And I can't even count, Alex, when I went to see some bands play that I can actually inhale, like you could smell that. It smelled like incense. I hate it. Like when I went to see like
marijuana smells like
I didn't like it. I had to eat afterwards. Like
marijuana smells like a pleasant skunk.
I after we got out of like the small shop, I used to go to Burger King. I couldn't stand the smell of smoke.
Really?
So
yeah, Alex,
yes.
I hate skunk. Oh man,
I think you ought to answer the question.
Why
did Tony feel sick from amoxicillin? What is amoxicillin?
No, I had a cold, so my doctor gave me the amoxicillin.
I know what it is. Alex seems to be the expert.
He actually made me sleepy.
I'm not an expert. You know, I know what amoxicillin is.
What is it?
It's one of the cillins, one of the penicillin type drugs, one of the antibiotics.
Yeah, I actually had a bad cold for a while. I kept putting off going to the doctor.
See, I don't know why doctors give you one or the other. You know, there are a lot of
cylinders.
cylinders.
We finished the thing, and he says, good thing I went, because it could have turned into like pneumonia. He says, my lungs were fine, he says, but this was a long time ago. He says, you don't want to play around with a cold, he said.
Well, you know, God bless all those antibiotics that came along. I mean,
Yeah,
people were dying.
We'd be dead long ago.
People were dying of simple stuff years ago. You know, and we saved a lot.
And my
lives.
doctor, Alex, the family doctor that we used, he's against really using he really doesn't want you to use drugs at all. I mean, only if you have to. Like, you know, he'll give some.
Well, I mean, if you've got an infection, and the only way to get rid of it is an antibiotic, he's going to give you an antibiotic. But he's not going to give you an antibiotic just because he thinks, well, this might solve the problem.
Yeah, he will never do that. Yep.
Doctors hate promiscuously giving, antibiotics.
Well, that's why we have a big antibiotic resistance right now to a lot of things, and a lot of the antibiotics that worked 10 years ago don't work.
Listen, part of the problem is that you drink tap water, and it probably has some antibiotics in it, just because they get into the water system.
I flush a little medicine down the thing.
What did they say at one point that if you took any $20 bill and scraped it, you would find cocaine on it?
Oh,
Yeah. That there was so much cocaine being used in this country at one point, and the $20 bills to snort them with, that almost every $20 bill had a trace of cocaine on it.
Well, they said $100. I remember them saying $100 bills. Because
me too.
Such a
I was
hello to my little friend.
The people that couldn't afford real cocaine used $20 bills.
Well, that's what I was just cheap, and I used a $20 bill instead of a $100 bill. I'm not trying to impress my friends. I don't give a shit. Somebody might steal the $100 bill.
I've never done cocaine.
Charlie, you don't look like much of a guy who used drugs much, or am I wrong?
Marijuana is the only thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I used to like mushrooms. Shrooms were fun.
What haven't you done?
Yeah, but that can get you nauseous, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. But
you look like a party type guy, John. What haven't you done?
Heroin. I never did heroin.
Never did heroin either.
Good.
I hear it's terrific. I hear it's wonderful, but you just don't want to get hooked on it.
I never did any kind of drug where you had to put a needle in your arm. No way.
Well, you don't have to put a needle in your arm for heroin. You can snort it.
Yeah, that's
smoke it.
But I've never tried it. I've been offered it, never tried it. It's something that I completely avoided. In fact, I don't do any drugs now to speak of, except my pregabalin that I take for neuropathy, which is a great little drug if you want to get high.
You talk about that all the time.
Oh, it's great. But I only do it about every other night because I don't want to get hooked on it and stuff like that.
Right.
But tonight's pregabalin night.
There you go.
Yeah. How do we get into all of this? God.
Not really. It's a drug night.
This is, yeah.
Thank you for looking that up, Kevin.
Let's talk about Caitlyn Jenner.
Well, what about her?
She's an
I don't know. Did you see the interview she did yesterday?
Yeah, she's really stupid, isn't she?
Yeah, extremely stupid. Oh man. I used to
We
idolize
don't need
Bruce
high
Jenner.
speed train.
Who did I see?
California's in deep
Hop on a
shit. If
private
all,
jet.
What did you say, Kevin?
I said California's in deep shit with all these morons going to run for governor here
Again.
Well, she looked like an idiot. I mean, she was being asked questions by Sean Hannity, I think, was interviewing her.
Yeah, she's turning into a Trumpite.
It'd be a circus.
Yeah, I see no reason for Caitlyn Jenner. I mean, we say to Caitlyn Jenner, "You want to be governor? Okay, what's your qualifications? Right?
Yeah.
What's your qualifications? You
was on a Wheaties box.
You were on a Wheaties box? Oh, great. Well, stay on the fucking Wheaties box, you know?
A Wheaties box?
You should be on an Oscar Mayer box.
Yeah.
I want some of
Yeah.
I'd love to be an actor.
Who are some of the other people that are thinking of running? Who besides Caitlyn
John
Jenner?
Cox.
Who?
Don Cox, K-O-X.
Don Cox, another
Caitlyn Jenner and John Cox? That's awesome.
What
Should run together.
They were screwing up 101 again today. All the old Trumpers are out there yelling for
Randy
Grover.
Quaid.
Some guy named
What did you say, John?
Randy Quaid said he was thinking of running.
Really?
Oh my God.
As what?
Imagine that debate.
Well, you know, what's going to happen is whoever wins, I mean, let's say they get rid of Gavin Newsom and then one of the other people wins. It's going to be a Republican because there's no Democrat that's going to put his name there.
Yeah.
Okay? So really, this is a plot by the
gonna lose it.
Republicans to wholesalely.
I don't think Newsom's going to lose it if the Democrats come out.
You know how much they paid for those signatures?
Wait a minute, hold on a second. What did you say, Kevin?
I said if the Democrats come out, he won't lose that seat because there's 55 million people in this state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
isn't there? And almost 1% got him to recall. Wow.
Yeah.
1%.
Yeah.
That leaves another 54%.
You know how much they paid for each one of those signatures? They paid like guys to go out and get those signatures, and for every signature they were paying like $5-6.
Whatever. To sound like Donald Trump.
Whatever. It's costing the taxpayers, I think, $200 or $400 million for this.
Yeah. It's like any other election.
Outside Safeway, you see those guys collecting signatures. They're getting paid fucking $6 a signature.
They're getting paid, but you're not getting
If
paid.
Newsom wins, they should take that $400 million from all the Republicans who voted for him.
Yep.
Why are they trying to get rid of him anyway? I don't understand.
Day one.
You?
Great. Day one. Almaden Safeway over here. Right when he got elected, they had a table over there trying to get him.
Well, that's because he went to dinner. He went to dinner at
Try and
that.
drive south on 101 at Cochrane Road every Friday night, and you'll see.
He went to dinner at that restaurant. What was it? The
French Laundry.
French Laundry. Yeah, big deal. You know, I mean, I'm glad he could get a seat there. I never can. Anyway, hey, listen, there's a theme. Well, this has been fun. Drug evening.
5 minutes of politics.
Drug evening with Dr. Allen. You know, we'll give you your own show and put you on TV.
I don't want my own show.
Give out drug advice. Anyway, hey, thank you.
I don't want my own show.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. And thank you to Trucker Steve. Where are you tonight, Trucker Steve?
Fernley, Nevada.
You're still in Nevada. Wow.
Beautiful Fernley.
Yeah, and there's there's his dog. And Charlie, thank you for being here. Ray, thank you. Thank you, Josh. Thank you to John Larkin, and thank you to John Redshaw. Join us again, will you? Please, we love having you here.
Ryan's wife.
Alan, thank you so much. You've been fun tonight and putting up with a lot. We now watch Brian Neary getting a back rub.
I'm jealous. I'll be right over.
You're the luckiest guy in America, Brian.
No kidding.
You should count your blessings. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
I got to hear it all night now.
We should have an SFA area Gabnet party.
And he just got hit by it too.
We'll get together at Brian's house.
And Tony, thank you, Tony. Everybody, give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye back at you. Okay? All righty. Thank you. And there they go. That's our citizen panel for tonight. That was fun. Sorry for all that mess at the beginning when I was dropping my coffee. God, I hate it when my coffee drops. Anyway, that's it for tonight. We'll let you listen to the intersection next with Jack Bishop. He's here, and he'll be taking your calls on Skype at Gabnet Live is the number to call. We'll see you again. On Monday, we're going to do the 4 o'clock pop-up show, and then on Tuesday night, back here at 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. And by the way, very important fact, please wear a mask, get a shot, just stay safe out there. Good night, everybody. Yeah.